Alright, guys, welcome along to Hellmouth Hotline. I am your host, Rodney Stewart. We're getting into Angel once more with Season 2, Episode 3, First Impressions. And this one here, I'm not going to lie straight off the bat here, this is one of these ones that you could think to yourself, I might skip this one. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that interesting. I do see where that's coming from as you get into this episode, but trust me, this is an essential episode as far as the character of Gunn goes and the evolution of Cordelia. So, not so much the main character, but the angel in this and his story, but yeah, there's a lot of setup for what's going to happen, Angel, in this episode as well. But it's very much a standalone episode. You'll see what I mean as we're going through it. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, guys, let's get into this here. I'm going to spoil the episode for you, as with all good podcasts on pop culture do, we talk about everything that goes on in the episode, or maybe just hit the main points in it. And there's a tasty little treat for the Dukes of Hazzard fans in this episode that you might not necessarily see unless someone's like, did you see what was in the background of that shot? But yeah, that is what it is. Beginning of the episode, Angel is at Caritas, the little demon nightclub. He's talking with the host about his future, and as he walks away from his little chat, the host starts to sing, and he encounters Darla. The two of them hit the dance floor, and they're talking about, meeting up and her little meetings. Does anybody know about this here? And they're like, they were kind of sneaking behind our friends, sort of a deal, So they're dancing and they kiss. Angel then wakes up. Turns out that it's a dream. He's a little bit shaken about it. While he's up there, he's been sleeping late. Cordelia and Wesley, they're cleaning up down in the hotel, getting it ready for they've moved into this new hotel as their base of operations in the prior episodes. So they're trying to get the whole thing in order. Cordelia's having a little bitch about it, and Wesley's like, that's okay, we could just, move everything back to your apartment. And she's like, jumps straight up and gets back to work again. At that point, Charles Gunn arrives at the hotel. He's expecting Angel to be up and awake, ready to give him a hand. And yes, Angel finally turns up. And as he gets down there, David Nabbit has showed up as well. And he's the little character, the little tech nerd from the first series. That's like, he's plays D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, all that sort of stuff. So he's like one of these hardcore geeks back in the day. He thinks he's been called by Angel to go actual demon hunting, but Angel's looking for financial advice and buying the hotel. So Nabbit, goes through the whole financial option side of things and rhymes off all this technical jargon as far as money goes, and of course that gets Cordelia a little bit hot below the collar, and he leaves then at that point. Angel and the team head off of Gunn to meet a man named Jamal to get information about a demon named Divac that has been hitting people in Gunn's part of town. Jamal shows up, but he doesn't want to give him any information. He's like, you know what, I've thought about it. I don't want your money. Like, Angel and Gunn have brought money here to get info out of him. But the guy, Jamal, throws the money back at them. He doesn't want to talk. He says, I'm a lot more scared of Divac and I'm of you guys. But there's an interruption of a pack of vampires, prevents Gunn from getting answers, and this guy, Gunn's getting all up at he's going to beat the info out of this guy. These vampires attack him, and they eventually beat them. But they're all sitting about complaining about their injuries, and Wesley mentions that Angel usually doesn't take that much effort to kill a vampire, so they're all off their game and whatnot. Yeah, there's a great little moment in there where they're talking about. There's a little joke about movies and there, and Guns says that he hasn't bothered to see a movie since Denzel was robbed for the award for Malcolm X, and when they're complaining about their injuries and whatnot, Wesley asks Angel, "What about you?" Inquiring about his injuries, and Angel's like, who doesn't like Denzel? So there's a lot of little pop culture things pop up here and there in this episode, which is tasty. Yeah. After dropping Angel off at the hotel and heading back home, Angel's just like, I'm off my game. I need a recharge. Take me back to the hotel. Cordelia drops him off, and Angel says, take the car, just bring it back tomorrow. When she gets home, she gets visions of gun and danger. So her first thing she just tries to do is to call Angel. But at this stage, he's already in a deep sleep, and we go on to the dream sequence. He's dreaming of Darla. Wesley also doesn't answer his phone. His pager got wrecked in the fight earlier, so he's not home. He hasn't got his pager to know she's looking for him. And what is a pager? A lot of you guys are asking. It was this little thing that it was just the size of the palm of your hand, and if people were trying to get hold of you, this pager would give you a little notification of the phone number of the person that was trying to get you. Stuff that happened back in the late 90s, early 2000s, before most people that are probably listening to this episode were actually alive. So, so she can't get hold of either of them. She decides she's going to go on her own to help Guns, so she gets hold of a weapon, heads off to Guns' place, and she finds him fighting another man. She attacks him with this little axe that she's brought. Turns out it's a training session he's having with his friends. It's this guy, Joey, he was fighting off. No demon. Cordelia has embarrassed him in front of his crew and injured this guy unnecessarily. Gunn tries to get rid of her, but she discovers, whenever he takes her out of the place, that Angel's car, which he borrowed from him, is gone. So Gunn agrees to help her locate the missing car, get her home, get out of the way. So the episode, the big bulk of the episode is between Cordelia and Gunn and their attempts to find this car. Over with Wesley, Wesley wakens Angel to alert him of Gunn's predicament. He's got a message from Cordelia on his answer machine. She took his car, so he can't go after him. Wesley gets him onto the back of his motorcycle, but Angel's not happy with this here because he has to wear a pink crash helmet. Yeah, he doesn't want to do it. It's small and girly sort of thing, but he eventually has to wear it because it's, as Wesley says, it's the law in California. Back over with Gunn and Cordelia, they eventually track down this guy Desmond, the culprit that stole Angel's car, but the guy that sent them there, they try the guy first. Gunn threatens him, you jack cars, you steal cars, and the cars you've got in your lot here look like neighbourhood cars. Either shut it down or I'm going to shut you down myself, sort of thing. So everywhere Gunn goes in this episode, he's threatening people and whatnot. But they eventually get the guy that sent them after Desmond is also in cahoots with this demon Divac that they were tracking down at the beginning of the episode. Once they find Desmond, the guy that stole Angel's car, before he can get information on the car's whereabouts, another pack of vampires attack the party they're on. Gunn fends them off, but one of Gunn's friends, Veronica, is cut badly by a piece of glass and taken to the hospital. Luckily for her, Cordelia was there, rendered a little bit of first aid, helped her, and probably saved her life, is what the doctors say. But in the hospital, Gunn isn't reacting that well to the fact that Veronica nearly died, especially because he can't forget his sister's death. And actually at one point, instead of calling her, he says, people like Alana pay the price whenever I get sloppy. And Cordelia's like, Alana and then he corrects himself. Veronica. Alana being the name of his sister. Angel and Wesley arrive to see the aftermath of the party and find Devak's location through one of the surviving vampires posing as an injured party guest. And after finally finding Angel's car, Gunn also finds Devak. He's holding Gunn by the throat and Cordelia by the arm. It's just this guy's not taking any shit. And he's like, at one point, he's got Gunn by his throat, lifting him up into the air, got Cordelia by the arm, and he, as a shapeshifter, and he changes into the little guy, Jamal, that was going to be the rat at the beginning of the episode. And Cordelia sprays him in the face with mace, and he lets go of Cordelia and Gunn long enough to revert back to his demonic form. At this point, Angel and Wesley arrive to help. All hell breaks loose. People get their crap kicked in, and Devak gets taken out by Angel, and Wesley saves Cordelia during the fight. And ultimately, the threat towards his life is gone. We see Cordelia showed up and says, "I had a vision. You were in trouble. You're at the end of your rope. You were scared." And we played it all up as the episode played it up as Devak being the big bad that was going to take him out. And at the end of the episode, of course, he's been taken out of the equation. And Wesley thinks that, everything's fine and well now. You saved me. You can finally get out of my life, sort of thing. Just he's telling Cordelia, that's it, we're even. Fret gone, I'm all good now. And Cordelia tells him, you haven't been saved yet. The danger that I saw in my vision wasn't Devak. The danger that I seen was you, Charles Gunn. You are your own worst enemy, more or less, is what the story tells here at the end. It's like, you don't just fight whenever trouble happens. You actually go out looking for it. And, that's only a matter of time before that you're going to self-destruct on this path, more or less. So, you can get used to having me in your life for quite a long time here, because that's what my friends do. We're here to help people, and you're one of the ones that need helped at this point. The episode kind of closes out at that point. At the end of the episode, Angel rolls back into bed at the hotel, falls asleep, and he starts to dream about Darla one more time. As he sleeps and he dreams of the romantic encounters with his sire, we cut to real life. Angel's in bed sleeping, he's got that smile on his face, and then you see the blonde hair of the real Darla present in Angel's room. She climbs over his bed and starts kissing him and whatnot. So you know what's happening here. Wolfram and Hart has brought her back to try and trigger the curse and bring Angelus out. So they're trying to do that through his dreams at this point. As I said at the beginning of the episode, this is kind of like, that's the thing about the shows like Buffy and Angel. There's an overarching storyline throughout the entire season, but there tends to be a few episodes here and there that are very much standalone, that break away from the whole big storyline. But there's the little bits like this with Darla that are peppered throughout this episode that gives you the key to the bigger storyline. So as I said at the beginning of the episode, if you're sitting watching it and you're thinking to yourself, this is not necessarily something that I'm interested in as far as the bigger picture goes, I might just pass on this one. Don't. This is a very good episode. Again, a lot of Gunn in there, great character, and the fact that we are starting to see that evolution for the character of Cordelia. Like, you're getting a lot of it in this episode in particular, particularly those final moments where she's telling gun that, the big bad wasn't Divac or the demons that you're fighting. The big bad that the Vision warned me about was you in particular. Great little episode. Not so much in the way of notes here as far as the there is something I did say at the very beginning. There was a little treat for the Dukes of Hazzard fans out there in this episode. During the final fight, whenever they eventually find Angel's car, it's in this garage of stolen motors. They're in there before Divac attacks. They discover they don't have the keys for the car, so they have to start looking for the keys. If you look in the background of that scene, there is an orange Dodge Charger sitting in the background. It doesn't have the 01 on the side of it. It doesn't have the General Lee on the roof or the flag or anything. It's just an orange Charger. It is, a little General Lee is in the background of that. You get it in a few shots throughout that final fight sequences. So, that's something that I'd watched this probably quite a few times before. It's just like, you're sitting watching the episode and you're taking in everything that's going on. You just kind of like everything in the background is kind of like just doing its thing, and you see this little orange car in the background. And I was sitting one night and I was like, that's a very familiar orange tint to that car. Got a good look at it, and I was like, holy crap, that's a General Lee back there. So there's that. Let me see, is there a production notes? No, there's not so much in here as far as anything really, really interesting. Like, you get a few goofs within the episode. As with previous episodes, there's a number of things visible to the far left and right sides of the widescreen frame. The so-called safety buffers for the non-widescreen broadcast, which were not intended to be seen. For instance, after Wesley wakes Angel up from his dream, they awkwardly acknowledge Angel's nakedness, but in the previous shot he's clearly wearing white boxers. Yeah, at the end of the episode when Darla is dream seducing Angel and is supposed to be naked, you get a glimpse of her underwear and the band-aids covering her private parts. So there's that. But not a bad episode. I enjoy this series more than Buffy, I'm not going to lie. I think it's fantastic. Right, that is going to do it, guys. Until the next episode, do me a little favour, jump over and check out coinsagemedia.com. Share this nonsense along to someone that you think might be interested in it. And hit that email, Hellmouth Hotline at gmail.com, if you want to contact the show directly. Until the next one, stay safe. I will talk to you all then. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.